Hey guys, mcfixit here. We're going to be working on this French drain 9x9 drain basin. You can see the lawnmower has broken it. It's in pretty bad disrepair. All the stones are starting to come in on both sides of that corrugated plastic. So we're going to be working on fixing this. I'm going to walk through all the tools, the supplies, getting a whole brand new one and putting it in its place. And so we'll show you exactly all the know-how and how to get this done properly. So here are the tools and the supplies that I'm going to use. I'm going to use a screwdriver because on this new basin, it does have a few screws in it. So this is a brand new 9x9 basin, and it has the little connector pieces in the side as well. And so I'm hoping it fits the original one right down there, so we don't even have to use those, but we may. We also may need to screw those in and actually secure them in. So you may need a drill and a couple of screws. You're going to use a good shovel, a wheelbarrow. You'll also need some of the same kind of rock that you have, some kind of small rock. I'll look this up to see exactly what it is, and I'll put it in the description that we ordered a long time ago. Then I also have 280 pounds when it's filled up with water. That roller will work really good on getting it nice and flat. So when this is done, it looks perfect, and my French drain will work. Again, this French drain goes around 500 feet around my house to take the water from the backyard and push it around the house and up to the road. There were a few other tools that I used. I used a drill with a Phillips bit, a couple just old Phillips screws I had lying around, a box cutter, and then also about a 6-inch long piece of 4-inch corrugated pipe. It's what's in the ground right here. I had a little bit left over. So just about a 6-inch piece is all you'll need for that. So the first step is to go ahead and dig out all around. I'm going to be using a shovel and the wheelbarrow for this. And you'll see that there's rock on all sides, which is not always easy to get up, but just take your time and do it. This French drain is about 5 years old, so eventually it will have to be completely redone because they do not last forever. And there's about 1 billion ways you can do this. Put in these French drains. Once you start getting good on one side, go ahead and start going to the next side. And you do want to be careful here. You don't want to break any existing stuff. And that right there is completely busted. And so the lawnmower just destroyed that. We may have to do some extra repairs here as well. I don't know until you kind of get in. So we're just going to go ahead and get as much of this rock out as possible and dirt combination. Not even sure what that is, some kind of plastic tape stuff. The other thing is we do want to make sure this drains all of the rock out inside, and I'll show you how I get that out in a minute. And I'm not sure if I tore this part up when I was shoveling or if it was already busted, so we are probably going to have to do a minor repair there. This teaches you to go kind of softly around where the connectors are. So one little test you can go ahead and do is just grab the new one and go ahead and just place it inside. I like to have about 2 inches underneath it. So I have kind of a buildup of this rock for about 2 inches. Need to go just a touch deeper. You can also use the old busted one too. It probably actually would fit in better because it's partly busted. Okay, that's all we're gonna do here. I'm just gonna flatten that back out. Not really sure what that tape crap's for, but actually I'm gonna get this side just a little better, especially since we are gonna have to do a bit of a repair on this side. So now that that is gone ahead and dug out, we'll start on this repair first. So I went ahead and got about 6 inches of corrugated 4-inch drain pipe, and so I'm gonna go ahead and back this screw off. I guess there were 2 screws. Sometimes you just got to rip it off. And so you're going to want to go back just a little further than the issue actually is. So I will cut this. And you can see this has become clogged because it has had so much crap in it. So I will try my best to get in here and remove as much of that as I can. Go ahead and take the new one. I'm going to try to pinch the old one down inside of it. I may have to put a couple of little slits in to just kind of help it. And you may have to clear out a little bit more stuff as well, just to be able to get it around it properly. That should be plenty. And then we'll just go ahead. I do like to have the green line facing up, at least at the end. So we'll go ahead and put this over. And you can kind of reach your hand in and grab the inside piece as well. And so that is pretty much good. I'm going to probably touch that up a little bit later on. Going to go ahead and back this off. These things have been on there a while, so and they're totally shot. These look like drywall screws. There it goes. Don't reuse those. Perfect. So you can go ahead and take that off and begin to move that around. Oh, they put 3 on that one. My guess is that these will not be the same as this because these holes look a lot bigger. We'll go ahead and get the 2 Phillips screws out of this. Make sure you have something to put those in. They are very long too. So I'm just going to stick them right there in that metal tray. Now these ones look quite a bit different than this, so I am glad I kind of upgraded. And it does look like this one has a cap on it. It does. So both of these look a little different. So you just got to kind of figure out how it works for yours. So this is what it will look like. So that does look a little different because both of these had this piece on it. So just so you know, sometimes they are different. That's a good example. So I probably will put this one on this side since I already had to kind of make this one different. And so I'm just going to kind of guesstimate here. Actually, that might work perfect. So I'm gonna actually go ahead and begin to pull this one back off. This is that one I just put on, because I think we're going to have to make some kind of an adjustment to get it on here. This other side right here should just slide on just like the previous one did. I was kind of hoping these were identical, but they're not. That does sometimes happen. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this one on, which that comes on pretty quick. I'm just gonna put a couple screws like it had originally in it. These are just 1-inch screws. You don't have to do this, but I do think it helps it just kind of stay in place a little better. And so that looks really good right there. Now this other one's gonna be I bet our pain in the butt. And so we're gonna have to figure out exactly how far it needs to be, which I think that is actually gonna work almost perfect, which is just kind of a guess at first. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in nice and tight and firm in here, and then I'm gonna put some screws in it. So again, this one looks a lot different than the last one did, but it should do the exact same thing. The other thing I like to do is only put screws in the top, not at the bottom. So the 2 screws over here, and I'll put 2 screws here. The reason I choose to do that is I don't want these screws to interfere with drains. So there's one. Kind of move it to the other side. Just like so. Go ahead and move this out. We are gonna have to clean some of this back up again, put this on, and hopefully twist those 2 back down, and then we'll fill the rest with the rock. And that's that tape crap. I don't know what it's from, but there's a bunch of it in there. Then we'll just go ahead and flatten that nice back out. Make sure you're not going where any kind of power line is. That should have been checked before you started to dig. Forgot to mention that, but that's already been checked here. So now we'll just go ahead and begin to get this on here. And I guess I did mess up. The green line's not at the top, but it doesn't really matter. And the goal of this is just to get this up and through. This thing also has a flat head on the other side, so I'm gonna try to kind of press that in and make sure we're really good and seated in there. And I think that's pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in there first. Now this thing will have to rotate and lock in. You can see right there, locking in. That's what you want. Same thing with over here. This thing has to lock in place. Sometimes can be a pain to get locked into place. We're close, but we're not there yet. In fact, I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew these to get a better fit on here. There it goes. So I like how this side looks. I don't necessarily like how this one does yet. There we go. Now that's properly locked into place. Go ahead and grab those 2 screws and just reuse them. The other thing you're going to want to check to make sure it is level with the ground, which we're good there. So we're going to go ahead and work on getting new rock put in here, and then we'll put the top on. So I'm going to go ahead and dump my wheelbarrow in a place you're allowed to dump it, and then I'll be back with gravel. So remember I mentioned this earlier, you're gonna want about 2 inches of rock at least underneath. It's gonna be hard for me to show you that because I've already tied everything in, but that's the goal. The other thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this gently on top to try to keep any rock out from going in at this time. And then just work that rock in. I'm gonna put my foot on top of it too, just so I don't get as much in as well. And you can see there's a little give and take right here, that's fine. You're working off an existing one, so sometimes that does happen. We can reach in there and get any of that out that we don't want. I also sometimes just kind of stomp on it as I go, get it packed in there nice and tight. And know that also over time, all this will settle to some degree. And so you do have the opportunity for things not to look as good. When you saw this originally, you could see it did have this depth originally, but after ground thaws and freezes, lots of things can happen. And I like to make it a little thicker than what it was originally too. Just put it right up to the edge. All that will settle over time. I do like that this one has access, so if something does get in here, or you have a bunch of leaves or something that somehow get in there, I don't know how, this will just really help you out to be able to clean it out. And again, I'm going just a touch higher with the rocks than the platform itself, that water basin, because we are gonna roll this in a minute. If you're not able to have a roller, there's lots of other methods. You can kind of do what I'm doing, just stepping on it, come back out in a few weeks after a good couple of rains, put some more rock down on it. You'll need about as much rock as how much dirt you took out. That's a good thing to remember as you're doing this. You do want to make sure you have enough rock. I'm a big guy, so my weight does knock it down pretty good. I'm gonna clean all this up and then we're gonna drive over it a couple of times with that roller. I forgot, you're gonna wanna put the screws in too. So go ahead and pick this up. If there's any rocks that fell in, this is a good opportunity to go ahead and get those out. And also just make sure everything looks like it's nice and lined up. These two holes go along the line of the pipe. Go ahead and set it in. They will fall down pretty far in there. Then just go to hand tight. You don't have to kill it. Same thing on this. This is also a good time to kind of knock any of the rocks that are kind of in your yard back to where they should be. And then we'll go ahead and roll this after I clean the rest of this stuff up. So there you go. I hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so yet. Leave a comment if you have anything you want to say. I'm sure there's other ways you can do this than what I did it, but this works. And I'm back up and running with my entire drain line going around the house with this French drain, and that 9x9 is fixed. It's no longer broken. I can easily go with my lawnmower over all of this now. Thanks again. Have a great day, guys.